Character Power, Chapter 7, The Associated Qualities. The fifth of the several classes of character qualities is that known as the associated qualities. The term associated is applied to this class because of the fact that its several qualities are associated closely with one or more of the qualities forming other classes, rather than forming an independent class of their own. The several qualities composing this class are shown in the diagram. You are now asked to consider each of the above stated qualities composing the class of the associated qualities. Humor. Humor consists of that quality of human thought, imagination, and feeling which enables one to perceive the incongruous or fantastic aspects, elements, or phases of the subjects or objects under consideration, which tends to induce or produce laughter or mirth, and which is expressed in wit, satire, facetiousness, jocularity, etc. Humor causes one to see the funny side of things, and thus to escape the effects of over seriousness, ponderous gravity, tendency to overestimate the comparative value or importance of particular views of things, one-sidedness, etc. The sense of humor has well been called the saving grace, for it saves men from fanaticism, bigotry, and undue partisanship by causing them to see the incongruous, absurd, and ludicrous aspects of such one-sided views. Humor has punctured the balloon of more than one solemn absurdity and fallacy. It also relieves the tension of serious discussion and thought and clears away the clouds of overemphasis. Moreover, it tends to lubricate the machinery of human intercourse and association. Properly developed and rationally and sensibly manifested, humor is a positive quality meeting the test of the touchstone of positivity and being found to make you stronger, better, and more efficient. The deficiency negative of humor is known as undue gravity, which is marked by the absence of all the characteristics of the positive quality. It manifests as over-seriousness, ponderous and excessive gravity, absence of the perception of the incongruous and the ridiculous, lack of wit, and dislike of jocularity. This quality is often accompanied by cruel judgment of others, lack of sympathy, bigotry, extreme partisanship, and general narrowness of vision and interest. It is negative in its effects and results. The excess negative of humor is known as undue levity, which is marked by extreme frivolity, trifling, silliness, the desire to play the part of the buffoon on all occasions, appropriate and inappropriate, to make forced jokes, indulge in clownish antics, to strain to think up cheap puns, silly allusions, and questionable quips, and to strive to make everything appear trifling, ridiculous, and silly. Another perverted form of humor is that manifestation of so-called wit, which seeks to wound others rather than to arouse healthy mirth or genuine humorous feelings. These perversions may be overcome by the addition and blending of reason, judgment, discrimination, and in the last case of kindness and sympathy. This course is advised for the perverted qualities in question are negative in effect and results, and in no way tend to make you stronger, better, and more efficient. In fact, they tend to make you weaker, worse, and less efficient. Cheerfulness. Cheerfulness consists of the qualities which tend to make one cheerful, cheery, bright, joyful, happy, vivacious, buoyant, and blithe. Cheerfulness is a positive quality not only in its effects upon one's associates, but also in its effects upon oneself. Modern physiological psychology informs us that the mental attitude of cheerfulness tends to create the most beneficial physical conditions, the opposite mental attitude producing the contrary effect. Cheerfulness keeps the brain clear, keys emotional nature to a desirable pitch, and lets the sunshine in on life in general. Moreover, it renders one an agreeable companion and associate, makes friends, promotes human intercourse, and does much to create a pleasing personality, the latter being a decided asset. Its advantages and desirability are seen more plainly when we contrast this quality with its negative opposite. The deficiency negative of cheerfulness is known as cheerlessness. which consists of the qualities creating the mental atmosphere of gloom, sadness, discouragement, dejection, forlornness, melancholy, the blues, in short. This quality is quite negative and harmful to the individual, both in its effects upon his physical and mental being, and also in its effects upon his associates and those with whom he comes in contact. It poisons his blood, depresses his vitality, impairs his judgments, clouds his feelings, and muddies his emotions. It causes others to avoid his company, to flee his presence, and to regard him as a depressing, discouraging visitor. The confirmed pessimist is not popular. His presence is depressing. The sunny Jim is preferred to the gloomy Gus, for obvious reasons. Human wet blankets are avoided. Men prefer sunshine to gloom in their atmosphere. The world proceeds on the lines indicated by the writer of the following lines. Laugh and the world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone. For this sad old earth is in need of mirth. It has troubles enough of its own. You would act wisely to adopt that principle of the ancient Japanese code of Bushido, which instructed the young noblemen of that country to maintain always the cheerful, pleasant demeanor, concealing ever their pain, sorrow, and grief from those with whom they come in contact. The code taught this course not as a matter of policy, but as a matter of politeness and right conduct toward others, particularly toward strangers, and as a manifestation of proper stoical pride and self-respect. It regarded the opposite course as an indecent exposure of one's sacred emotions, griefs, and sorrows. It taught the virtue of emotional modesty. The excess negative of cheerfulness is known as strained cheerfulness, which consists of a forced and unnatural assumption of pleasure and gladness, unwarranted by the true feelings and the facts of the case. This is a perversion of the true cheerfulness which comes from the heart. It differs from the honest inhibiting of cheerfulness and gloom, inasmuch as it proceeds to counterfeit the real feeling or to carry the latter to a ridiculous and unwarranted extent. This artificial gladness and counterfeit pleasure is quite in favor with many at the present time. The social fields are well supplied with gladiolas. Pollyanity is in vogue. They deceive no one and disgust many honest persons. This unnatural dragging in of gladness upon all occasions is as unconvincing as the repeated assertion of, I am an honest man, by the man whose honesty and truthfulness are under suspicion, or the similar strained and constantly repeated assertion of virtue by the woman of questionable character. A stoical cheerfulness under even the worst happenings is honest, natural, and commendable. But to make pretended virtues of pain and adversity and to loudly claim to be glad despite them rings false and is not deserving of praise. The addition and blending of discrimination, truth, and honesty is needed in such cases. Hysteria always is negative, despite its shrill assertions and excited affirmation of gladness. Tact. Tact consists of the faculty of nice perception and discernment, and of the ready power to appreciate and to say and do what is required under the circumstances. It is a judicious mixture of the quality of agreeableness and desire to please and that of caution and secretiveness. Its expression is politeness and suavity. Its manifestation is diplomacy. Politeness consists of courteous, obliging, civil manners directed toward the recognition of the wants and wishes of others, the anticipation of such, and the observance of a pleasing demeanor towards one's associates. Suavity consists of the quality of being pleasing in manner and demeanor, urbanity, agreeableness. Diplomacy consists of the observance of a tactful suavity accompanied by a certain caution and reserve concerning one's own desires, plans, and designs. It is characterized by tact, shrewdness, and mental dexterity. True tact is based upon an understanding of the feelings of others, and that understanding is best arrived at by means of a real interest and sympathy with them, a fellow feeling for them. It has its spirit in the feeling of kindness for others, a liberal tolerance and broad charity toward them, and a desire to make them feel at ease and to contribute to their mental and emotional satisfaction and comfort. True tact is a positive quality and tends to make you stronger, better, and more efficient. This fact is perceived more clearly when we consider the effect of its negative opposition, tactlessness. Tact is fitly subject to adverse criticism only when it is manifested in a perverted form or to an unwarranted degree. The deficiency negative of tact is known as tactlessness, which is marked by an absence of all that constitutes the positive quality of tact. It causes one to say even pleasant things in an unpleasant manner, and to exercise an almost positive genius for speaking in a tone and acting in a manner likely to offend, distress, or even hurt others. Those manifesting this negative quality manage to blunder along, committing unpardonable errors with an almost entire lack of understanding or appreciation of what they are doing, and with an almost total inability to perceive the point of view or the feelings of the other persons. Surely such a quality cannot be held to contribute to the real worth and efficiency of a person. It is clearly a negative quality and should be treated as such. The excess negative of tact is known as insincere suavity and is marked by smoothness, agreeableness, and subtle flattery, accompanied by a lack of sincerity and by the presence of actual deceit in dealing and associating with others. It tends toward hypocrisy, duplicity, deceit, deception, double dealing, and false pretension. It acts to flatter, to soft soap, and to praise falsely those persons sought to be taken advantage of. It is like the actions of the boa constrictor, which first covers with saliva the small animals which it plans to swallow a little later. This quality, fortunately, frequently defeats its own ends. It is a perversion of the positive quality. It should be treated with a liberal blend of honesty, truthfulness, and real sympathy for others.